students. And so I'd like to introduce Dillyn. She's a senior, and she'll be sharing a little bit about her story and her passion, and also provide an invitation to all of us who want to get involved. Please help me in welcoming Dillyn. So Dillyn, when you were in 8th grade, what team were you a part of?
I was on 8Z.
You were on 8Z.
Oh yeah!
So she was in 8Z, and now you're a senior. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself? What do you like to do for fun, and what kind of things are you thinking about now as a senior?
Right now, well, I've always been a water girl. I've always done water sports, always spending time in the ocean, so that's kind of where I can be found most of the time, paddling, sailing. But right now, something on my mind is college, so I just finished my first college app to University of Hawaii at Manoa. So, like, thinking about next steps, like, I've been here since kindergarten, I've gone here since kindergarten, so then that's like going to be a huge change in my life, so that's something on my mind right now.
So usually when we talk to seniors at this time, we're asking, well, what are the many different colleges that you're thinking about? I think you have a list of like a whole bunch. But you are very specific about staying here in Hawaii. Can I ask why?
Yeah, well, I think that UH is probably the best option for me because I really want to continue to stay involved with everything that I'm passionate about here. I want to pursue a degree in oceanography just so that I can continue to understand the ocean better and then work to protect her because we're in a really scary time right now with the climate crisis. So, and that's the only place where I can pursue that degree and also pursue maybe a minor in Hawaiian studies and continue with Hawaiian language.
That's awesome. Now it's wonderful that we have you to talk about your future, but also we want to talk about the things that you've already done. So you were part of a group that helped create a class that is being held in the academy right now. Do you mind talking a little bit about that?
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to be able to help design a course, an elective course for the Punahou students in the academy. And this course is interdisciplinary, which means you can get either a science credit or a social studies credit, while all through the lens of voyaging. So basically, everyone takes the same class, and it's really hands-on experimental learning, and it's kind of a new way for students to be able to learn maybe skills that were not traditionally taught in a classroom, and also a lot of knowledge that is taught in a classroom, but through a different lens that might be more realistic for them.
Yeah, you mentioned a story about how when you were in school, you were in a lesson in physics. And how about that journey, about what made you really learn it?
Okay, so in chemistry, in my sophomore year, we were learning
chemistry,
yeah,
physics.
But we were learning about vacuums, and this did not make sense to me at all. I've never really understood vacuums, but when I went sailing a couple weeks later, and like being on the water, moving with the wind, the captain was explaining how the sail is actually a vacuum. And while we were moving, he was explaining what the air was doing and how it was moving us forward. And just being in that space and really seeing a vacuum in real life and understanding what was actually making us move was really what caused me to actually learn how vacuums work. And there's a lot of different things you can learn on the relating to physics or even any other form of like a class you have at school through a real life situation.
Okay, so you were passionate about this, and so you went so far even to have a class, but not just that, right? That's not enough to have a class that you started. You actually are wanting to bring, or you are in the process of bringing, along with other people, a va'a onto campus. Do you mind sharing a little bit about that?
Well, this project I started called Hālāwai Hou is actually rooted in building a va'a kaulua for Punahou, and a lot of the different avenues like the class that have come along with it were all stemmed from that original idea to build a va'a kaulua for Punahou. So for this project, project. I started it when I was an upcoming sophomore, so the summer between my freshman year and sophomore year. I was working on Namahoe, a voyaging canoe on Kauai, and one of the crew members came up to me and said, "You should build a wa'akaulua for Punahou." And at that time, I was not a voyager for sure. I didn't know how to tie knots, I didn't know anything. But this idea really stuck with me, and I dreamt about it, and it kind of seemed like it was my kuleana, something that I needed to do. So I came back to school and I got in touch with my third grade kumu, and she kind of helped me to figure out who to talk to next to make this happen. And it's been about 2.5 years so far of this journey, and I'm feeling really blessed right now with where we're at, and it's been a lot of work to get here.
That's amazing. You know, when you were 8th grade, what were you thinking that you would be interested in doing at this time?
In 8th grade, I actually wanted to be an Olympic water polo player, and that was something that I was really passionate about. I would go to the weight room 3 times a week before school and have practice every day after school. I went to national tournaments on the mainland, and water polo is just something I was really passionate about. But freshman year, I made it to the national team selection camp, and then it was just kind of super hardcore water polo, and then that made me realize that I wanted to be a part of something that was bigger than myself, and I wanted to come back and be more involved in community service rather than just trying to better myself. I wanted to better other people too.
Wow, that's really huge. And so that experience of not getting kind of that dream that you wanted, what was the timeline between that experience with water polo and then you kind of figuring out about the canoe thing?
Well, that national team selection camp happened at the end of my freshman year, and then that summer I kind of like experimented around and worked in Lo'ikalo and did all these different community service options. I didn't know what I was really interested in. And then at the end of that summer was when I went to Kauai, and then this idea was presented to me, and that's kind of how we got there.
That's amazing. So you didn't just come, we didn't have you come here just to tell your story, which is amazing in and of itself, but you wanted to actually come here as a call to our 8th grade students for them to get involved in this as well, right? So this is some pictures from, can you explain a little bit of what we're seeing here?
Yeah, so this is a picture of our voyaging class in the academy, and we went down to Sand Island, and we actually got to sail on a wa'akaulua as a class as a field trip. So a lot of us were not, or a lot of our students in the class had never been sailing before, so it was a completely new experience for them. And we were able to go out, and then we had been learning and preparing for a sail for the past couple weeks in school before this. And then this was really an opportunity for us to apply the skills we learned in the classroom to a real life situation. And this is one of our hulls for the wa'a we will be bringing to Punahou within the next 2 weeks or so. So she is being built in Kahaluu right now at Anelakai Marine, and then we'll be trailing her over in the next 2 weeks or so. And then that's really when we'll be needing a lot of help from you guys and from the whole campus and the whole community here to lash, to bring their money into that space of building. And you can't, a saying that I like to say, or that people in the community say a lot, is it takes a village. And it really does to build a wa'a, and we need everyone's spirit, we need everyone's hands. So I think this is something that everyone should be a part of.
Hālāwai.
Yeah, for sure, Hālāwai.
So these are some specific things.
Yeah, so these are some things that we need help with now. As you can see, the tent in the photo is between Puahi Hall and Montague Hall in the academy. And something we're asking of you guys is, if you ever have time, just come and bring yourself and bring your spirit into that space to really, we want to try and occupy it with students and with that student presence So it's a really small thing, but it really makes a huge difference for this. And when you're there, you can, if you feel inclined to, you can say a pule, say a prayer, or say an oli. And really just bring your aloha into that space, because we're going to be blessing the space soon, but we also want to have that student presence there too.
You have other things. Old carpet, tea leaf lei.
Yeah, so for the old carpet, we're going to need some to rest the holes on when she gets here. So I'm not sure how much we need, but we'll need carpet for that. And then also for tea leaf lei, we're trying to decorate the space and make it, tea leaf is a way to provide protection for a space, so we're trying to decorate as much with tea leaf lei. Our voyaging club in the academy has already started this. We started making lei for this, and we were making lei as ho'okupu for the va'a as an offering, but we're also going to be surrounding the space with tea leaves. So that's something, and also a kahea. A kahea is a call out. So one thing that's happening right now is Uncle John Benson is in the hospital. He is our main kalaiva'a, our main canoe builder. He's fabricating the hulls right now, and he is sick in the hospital. So something that everyone can do is we can all pray for him and to really hope that he gets better. And then also to kahea to this canoe, because she is on the other side of the island right now, and it's going to take all of us to really call her to Punahou and bring her to this space.
So, earlier I talked about explorers and discoverers are ones who visualize, use your imagination about where they're going. When you think about this canoe, what do you visualize for it 10 years from now, 20 years from now?
I envision that she'll be sailing, hopefully, like 10 years from now, honestly, every day. Like, that's what I want for this va'a, is for her to always be sailing. And I want all students to be able to be a part of this and to be able to sail and gain that experience. Not just Punahou students, but also students from any school on the island, or even international maybe. Just have this va'a be a bridge between multiple communities and a way for students to learn in an outdoor classroom.
That sounds pretty awesome. Now, I want to open it up for any questions that we may have. And just to provide some clarity, for teachers, if you would like to schedule your advisory or for times for your classes to come,